HPV Awareness Day. Human papillomavirus, not talked about a lot, but it's the most commonly sexually transmitted infection in the U.S. Nearly 80 million people, most in their teens and early 20s, are infected. It's the cause of almost all cervical cancers in women, but the disease can be prevented. And joining us for Kids First on Fox this month is Nikki Sullivan. She's the Director of Health Programming and Training at LifeSmart Youth, so the perfect one to talk about this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh.
I love this topic, and
yes,
International HPV Awareness Day, so thank you.
It should be talked about, and we talked about those stats, and we said 80 million, but talk more about how common is it?
Yeah, HPV is incredibly common. About 80% of people who are sexually active at some point in their lifetime will likely get HPV, which does make it one of the most common STDs, but unfortunately one that we don't talk enough about, which is why it is so important that we do. But because it's linked to sex, we know that it can be uncomfortable for some or difficult to navigate that conversation.
And it doesn't have to be transmitted sexually, but it mainly is.
Mainly, yeah, but definitely not entirely.
When you're what are the symptoms? What should people be thinking about?
That's one of the parts that makes this a really tricky conversation just already because of the topic, and then because there typically are no symptoms, which is the case for a lot of STDs. So with HPV, some people may not even know they have it. They're completely healthy, they feel fine, don't know when they got it, with whom they shared those germs, but they might. But our immune systems are really good at clearing that virus on its own, usually within 2 years for most people. But of course, some people's immune systems and some people have that more stubborn type of HPV, and that's not the case. And so in those particular cases, over time, that HPV may change their cells, leading to some types of cancers if left undetected and untreated. Yeah.
So who is most at risk then?
Another kind of trick question, right? It's everybody. As we said, if a person, in terms of sex, if a person is having sex, the possibility of HPV is definitely there. And HPV doesn't discriminate, right? HPV can affect both female and male reproductive systems and cause a variety of cancers. Now, one of those is cervical cancer, which we know largely affects women, and it is highly linked to HPV, with around 12,000 new cases diagnosed among women in the U.S. alone. And globally, we're seeing that it is the fourth most common type of cancer affecting women specifically, which are big numbers to take in.
I saw women can be screened, but men can't?
Yeah, still something that needs to be worked on. It's a little bit more difficult to gather the cells for men, but yes, there are screenings specific for women, cervical screenings and pap smears. But yes, something that we definitely need to work on in terms of men. But they can still have prevention measures, even if they identify as a male. Right?
What are those?
Prevention measures, we want to talk about 3. So one we've already mentioned is that screening, and making sure that if you are a woman who's between ages of 21 to 65, if you haven't already gone in for that cervical screening, please talk to your doctor and get screened. Now, from there, every person's body is different, so you work with your physician to figure out about how often to come back. It could be every 5 years or more, but that's the best way to find out if those cells are changing and catch any type of cancer early. For everybody, we're talking around the ages of 11 to 26, boy or girl, the HPV vaccine or the Gardasil shot is available. And I know some people know about that, but going and getting it is a different story, right? We want to encourage everyone to look into the vaccine. Some may get it as early as 9, some beyond 26, but in those cases, they're going to want to talk to their doctor and see what's best for their body. Usually comes in 2 doses and is highly, highly effective at protecting body against those really harmful HPV types that may cause things like cervical cancer or genital warts. And the third, it's an awareness day, right? So just talking is a prevention measure. We don't talk enough, and so be your best advocate. Talk to your trusted adults, your family, your doctor. Remember that HPV is not just a female issue, it is an everybody issue. So stay informed and staying with your research is so critical to this day.
You know, it's wild because I'm thinking as a mom of an 8-year-old, and you're saying 9 years old get this.
Yeah, and we know that puberty is starting so much earlier for our children, both male and female. So 8 to 9 is actually when puberty might be starting, and our bodies are going through lots of changes. And so it kind of makes sense that also the medicine, the information around vaccines is also shifting to that early age. But it is more likely that 11 to 12, and even in our programs, that's what we're talking to our youth about, right? Middle schoolers. Talk to your families. See if this vaccine is right for you and your body. But yeah, 8 and 9 sounds a little scary, but having a lifetime of, of certain issues related to HPV, when we could get that vaccine, something to think about.
And there is a lot of, I'm glad you mentioned the website and what you guys do. Where can people go for help?
So please look at LifeSmart Youth's website. There are lots of trusted adult links to get access around that, around the information. Amaze.org is an excellent website. Looking at yesmeanstest.org. And of course, just talking to your general physician would be great. And Kids Health would be a fabulous resource.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're just a little expert over here. I love having
this
you
topic,
in.
and I'm just so thankful to have the space to talk about it. So
Oh, thank you. And it's fox59.com/morning. We've made it easy for you there. And you can also find, we've been doing segments for years, once a month, so you can find that as well.